Hello everyone, welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel. It's Monday afternoon. I hope you've all had a good weekend. Thank you so much if you are watching. To help the channel out, please do like, comment and subscribe. And when the latest videos are uploaded to the channel, you can click that notification bell to be notified. And to really help the channel out with it being small, please do hype the channel too. You can do that when you're not in full screen mode by swiping right on the comment section underneath the screen and hitting the hype button. So yeah, welcome back, and you'll have noticed I didn't do a video on Saturday or yesterday. Yesterday I was busy, I had plans in, I was driving, so I didn't have time to do a reaction video. And Saturday I was working overtime in the morning, then I had to head straight to town, and it was a friend's birthday. So when I got to town, by the time I had a couple of drinks with the game, then afterwards we were meeting a lot of friends who I hadn't seen for a while. So I felt it would have been a bit disrespectful. Look, it was abject. Was it the worst performance of the season? My opinion, no. I think Brentford home and away were worse than that. West Ham especially when I was down there. Old Trafford when I was there. Honestly, in the last few seasons when I've been to away games, I've had such a good record. But this season, apart from obviously Aston Villa, but West Ham was poor, Man United was poor, we should have beat them. Obviously we've got them this coming Wednesday, and to see a Geordie turning around Man United, that is galling. But he is doing a good job for them. They won again yesterday, and it'll be a tough job in midweek. And look, I've got to admit now, look, I thought it was over anyway, but we can forget about Champions League qualification through the league. We are 12 points behind Liverpool. They're on 48 points. And then when you go to Chelsea, we are 9 points behind them. And then if you want to be catching Brentford, we're 7 points behind them. And then we're opponents who beat one Saturday. Everton have now opened up a 4-point gap, which was 1. So even Europa League's hanging by a thread. Our best bet is trying to go for Conference League, but that could be a tall order. And do players want to play in the Conference League? Not really, because do you build your coefficient? No. Do you make any money? No. So it is one of those, you could say, I hate using the word, but it is probably a transitional season. The summer window has just come to fruition now. It was damaging. Losing Isak, we'll have to admit, in hindsight, when a player wants to go, you can't really stand his way now. And he wanted to make that step up. And yes, it has been slightly funny, seeing that he hasn't played this season the way he went on. But yeah, the fact that Isak's gone, and the fact we haven't really had a good window, because look, Jacob Ramsey looks like he's finally becoming the player we're wanting, because he has had his injury problems. I felt he was our best player on Saturday before he went off. A lot of speculation in the corner when he was going off, because I'd just come back up the stairs, players were coming out, then you saw him down, but it turns out that he was sick. I mean, it's probably because of Nick Pope's error, but I thought he had a nosebleed, but he was our best player first, always showing for the ball. He scored the goal, albeit fortuitous, with a deflection off Branthwaite, but yeah, he was so energetic, he was positive, he was the one player using the ball positively, like apart from Tonali for our equaliser for his goal. But yeah, that was just so frustrating, because Alanga, yeah, a lot of energy running, put a cross in, that led to Joe Linton's header in the first half. But other than that, he didn't look like he wanted to take on his man. The quality wasn't there on the final ball. I was upset with Anthony Gordon. Look, he was getting stuck in on that left-hand side in the first half with the likes of Dwight McNeil and O'Brien. Again, he looked half-arsed against his former club, anonymous again. Just a few moments and flashes. And then we spotted it straight away. When they went 3-2 up, due to his error, he signalled to go off. And look, unless that's an injury, that's just unacceptable. It looked like he downed tools, and I've seen nothing since to say he's got an injury. So I'm sorry, that's just, like, if he's asked to go off because he's conceded, I'd want to put that right. And that's nothing to do with me being a Newcastle fan. If I was out there, yeah, that's your professional pride. You want to go and fix that, but look, I think it was abject. Look, Voltemada, I'll say this before I come onto the game. Voltemada's getting a lot of stick, but I posted before, you need to stand by him. Julian Nagelsmann, I shared it on my socials before, all on those channels. I've defended him too. Because look, he's a new player coming into the league. He's still scored 10 goals in 41 games. We are now closer to the bottom 3 than we are to the Champions League places. And where would we be without Voltemada's 10 goals in those 41 games? I dread to think. And we're not using him to his strengths. Look, is he a striker? No, I don't think he is. Everyone's just saying he's tall, he should be winning headers. But I've done a video earlier in the season where he said he played handball and he's used to like bouncing off players, but his game's not really strength, it's technical quality, and Eddie Howe's seen that and he's moved him into midfield, and it worked against Spurs and Villa away. It's not working every game, and we still can't find out how to use him. But look, don't write him off. Like, he's getting battered and everyone's jumping on this narrative, but give the lad a chance. He's got no confidence at the moment, I feel, and he needs our support. Nagelsmann, the German manager, is still going to play him. So I think we need to give him a pre-season. He's got no time between games to have training sessions to work on. And when we get the international break after the derby and before Palace, he's going to be away with Germany, and he'll probably do well there because their system suits him. But look, I know you've got to have the players to play the system. But people are saying sell him, but he's on a 6-year deal for £69 million. And we've only amortised 1 year of that come this summer. So that's still £57.5 million we need to get minimum. And then you'd want to make some on a profit. So you're looking at maybe 70, 75, 80 million. Who's going to pay that? So just stand by the lad, give him your support. Wait till he has a pre-season. But yeah, going on to the game, I feel it was abject. Look, there were some good moments. We finally showed some fight. Look, the way the game started, Dwight McNeil blazed one over in front of her. Then Joe Linton got played it to him on the left-hand side of the area at the Leazers by Gordon, and he blazed over. But then Everton took the lead. They had the corner, and there were all individual errors. I'll say that now for the goals. I mean, I felt it was a terrible game from both sides, but what do you get with a David Moyes team? They've been better away from home before this Saturday. They'd got 16 points at home, 21 away. And I don't think any team's won more games away from home than Everton since Moyes rejoined them as manager, because obviously he used to be their manager in the early 2000s. And he was good then, led them to a 5th place finish, and they fell in the Champions League playoffs. But they're always organised. You know, a David Moyes team are better suited when they're on the counter and a low block, and that's what where we struggle. And they do better away from home, and so it came to pass again on Saturday. But yeah, it was individual errors. Like, they got the corner in front of us, in the corner. James Garner swung it in. Joe Linton was static, didn't react quick enough. Nick Pope was flat-footed. I know Tarkowski was on him, but you need to find ways around that. It's physical at corners now. And then Tonali just let Branthwaite. I mean, great header, like, to just flick it on into the far corner, like, off the post. But yeah, then I felt like it was a bit of a mirror image of the second half. We finally got a foothold after Everton started better, in my opinion. And we were camped in their half. We had chances, as I said. Gordon was on the left-hand side. He managed to win a duel with Dwight McNeil. And then it came to Hall. He played inside to Tonali. Tonali found Elanga. Yeah, his shot was tame, but it was a chance. And then we got the equaliser. We were really fighting for it. Where Gordon was fighting again with O'Brien when he came inside, managed to get on the ground and shield it. In came Tonali to win the ball. It came loose. Lewis Hall managed to shield the ball in front of his man. Then he turned him. I think it was McNeil was everywhere in that game, by the way. I felt he played well too. Hall managed to play a great pass to Joe Linton. Joe Linton was going down the wing, but then he was forced back. Found Tonali, and what we're crying out for, a bit of quality. Tonali defence splitting past to Ramsey, and Ramsey took his shot, and yes, Branthwaite tried to block it, and it went over Pickford and into the back of the net. But that's when you're fighting, that's when you're being aggressive, that's when you're on the front foot, committing yourself. And yeah, I know Jacob Murphy as well, his chance in the second half. Joe Linton was like on the edge of the area, chipped it to Murphy, and his shot on the volley, really good connection, took a deflection, went in past Pickford. But what we've not been doing most of the season, we've been getting in good positions, but we're not been having opportunities on goal. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to make your own look, get on the edge of the area and try things, and they could take a deflection and go in, and that's what you asked for. But we also had another opportunity just before. Obviously, Trippier, short corner to Tonali, came in. And this is where I come down, where I felt we're a bit, we lacked a bit of energy at times after that initial burst. We didn't have enough final third quality. We ran out of ideas. We're a bit lackadaisical. And that's where I come back to Gordon's attitude. But yeah, decision-making as well was one of them, where Chow got in front of Elanga. I know Chow's better in the air in terms of being a centre-back, they normally are, than a winger. But I just felt if that came to Elanga, something different could have happened, because Joe Linton just couldn't get enough power on it. And then after our goal, this is where the individual errors come in, where lack concentration, was switched off. And look, McNeil done well. He managed to, the ball came to me. It's like what you've seen Bruno do with his Brazilian technique, flicked it over Lewis Hall's head, playing it to Beto. Beto tried to hold it up, came back to McNeil. McNeil's shot was tame, and then I was like this on the safe standing bars. Just everyone around us was the same. I was just like, dear God, Nick Pope's error. This is why we need a new goalkeeper in the summer. I'd bring Ramsdale back in against Manchester United, but is he the long-term solution? No, we paid $4 million. He's no better. We need a top-quality goalkeeper this summer because I feel Nick Pope, since his injury, he is a better shot stop anyway, but that was just evidence to the contrary. I mean, it was such a routine. I played in goal before, Sunday League, or I've got coaching badges, and look, it's such a simple save to go down to your right. It is, and for a professional goalkeeper, for that to fumble, and people are saying no Newcastle players were running in to anticipate that, but you wouldn't anticipate that because it was a tame shot. But Beto was switched on, and fair play to him. I think that was only his 4th league goal of the season, but he was switched on to tap it in, and I was just head and hands moment. But we had another opportunity at the end of the half, and Alanga put one in. It was a bit of head tennis. But eventually came to Voltamora, and his header fell down. Chow had a chance at the Leazes to maybe tap it in, but I just felt there was so many bodies and it was bouncing around. He didn't have time to know where it was, and it came to Pickford. But this is where I come down to it. My mate Liam says this all the time, but you should be docked your wages if you can't beat the first man at a corner when you're a professional footballer. And he's right. So many times that game, the only man who was really doing it from corners was Lewis Hall. Sandro Tonali was guilty of it. Kieran Trippier was guilty of it. And like I said, Lewis Hall was the only one who was beating his man. But yeah, we went down at the break, and I was just like, that is so poor. Everyone agreed. Sometimes we'll have counter arguments because we'll all have different points of view. Obviously, football's subjective. But yeah, I know I don't even want to. The referee, I don't even feel done much wrong. I know like a couple of their players were going down. Branthwaite and Tarkovsky were kind of tactical, pretend they had like head injuries. But you know what, just part and parcel of the game. We do that. I don't feel the referee made too many bad calls. But yeah, it's just we weren't good enough. We just weren't good enough, despite being camped in their half both times. We're just poor. But we got level again, and this is what's frustrating. We just switched off both times, conceding. It was 105 seconds between our first equaliser and then Beto's second goal. But then there was about 90 seconds between Jacob Murphy's equaliser and Tieno Barry's, thanks to Gordon's error. But yeah, Joe Linton had it in front of us, like edge of the box. He managed to come out better on a 50-50. Edge of the area, Murphy caught it well. And yes, like I said, it took took a deflection or maybe two, and it flew into the bottom corner past Pickford. But you make your own luck, like I said. Take chances when you're in those positions. But that goal showed so much patience because Everton got everyone bar, I think, the striker behind the ball, Beto, because Joe Linton, he had it in our own half on the right-hand side, and he was excellent to show so much strength to turn him, carry it through midfield, and then play it to Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall played it to Barnes on the left, then to Tonali, and then I think it came back to Barnes. But then it was great from Lewis Hall. He spotted the run of Joe Linton in behind, found him, sidestepped his man, played it over to the edge of the area to Murphy, and that's where I come back to again. When you have chances on goal, take a pop, you can take a deflection and go into the back of the net. I can't remember who it hit off. They're 27, I think. But yeah, that was 2-2, and you're thinking, great, because we had other chances as well. There was a great little move between Tonali, where he played a similar reverse pass round the back of Lewis Hall, and it came to Gordon. His left-footed shot, where he cut inside, was saved by Pickford, and just before Chow could poke it in, Tarkovsky, he got a massive foot in to clear it. It was an excellent clearance, and then Joe Willock had an opportunity. He was just a bit too high over the bar. Joe Linton managed to find Trippier. Trippier's cross came to Barnes, but then this is where I come back to decision making. It was a ridiculous decision to try and chip Pickford from there. Just little moments like that. You've got to be better in your decision making. And then we also had like the good move before I forget. It was played to Barnes. His chip cross came to Gordon, who tried to hook it in. So we did have opportunities, but yeah, then we got it back to 2-2. Crowd was up. Everyone screaming. Everyone raucous. You're thinking, right, St. James's is like got a reason to shout again. Because it was a bit quiet because that was reflective of the performance. But then again, another individual error, and it just sucked like the momentum out of it, which goals do. And fair play to Everton, they're a team who, like I said, they're difficult to break down. They're in a low block. And then their game plan was normally just hit it long to Beto. And because I nearly forgot about that actually before their winner. Look, I'm not going to say if the ball was out or not. I've not seen any images about whether it was out. That's what Howe and Tyndall were screaming about on the touchline. But Chow tried to shepherd it out. But then Beto got in front of him in a 50-50. Yeah, it's debatable. I don't know if it was in or out, so I'm not going to say it was. But we got a let off because I don't think Pope closed his goal down, didn't make himself big. But fortunately, Beto hit the bar. So that was a huge let off. But then, yeah, they went and scored the winner. Gordon faffing about with it. I think he was trying to be too clever, take on 2 or 3 men. Then it came to Njai. Njai played a third to Dewsbury Hall. And then Tieno Barry made his run into the box. And he was challenging for it. He wasn't even aware at first that it went in. He was falling over. And I think it either hit his backside or his leg without him knowing, and it just trickled in. It was painful to watch, but individual errors are costing. We used to be great at home, then poor away, and now we're fixed we're away form, and now we can't win at home. And with defensive structure that's been so solid for a while. And yeah, no, look, I know with teams beset by injuries, we're still missing the likes of Bruno, his influence in the middle. We're missing Miley. Obviously, his dead legs turn out to be a more serious muscle injury, so they're being careful with him because they don't want him to have damage long term. We're missing Livramento still for another 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, but you've got to get through. Every team gets injuries. And yeah, I just think the Champions League's done. And yes, I know there's a route through it by winning the Champions League, but let's be realistic here. We are not winning the Champions League, even though I cannot wait for next Tuesday when we'll play Barcelona here. But March, yeah, it's a defining month. And I think we're not going to... I don't even think we might get conference through the league, because when we put a run together, we haven't. I think our biggest win and run this season in the league's been 2 games. So that's not good enough. So yeah, we've got to pin all our hopes on the FA Cup. Massive game against Manchester City this coming Saturday after Man U. 8 p.m. kickoff under the lights. But City are a force, and they're still chasing Arsenal. You hope that with it being the 5th round and not deeper, and they're still going to prioritise the league, but you don't know. City are just a different animal, and they won up here in the League Cup first leg, didn't they? So you just don't know. It's fortunate that it is at home. FA Cup's our best hope, because we're not winning the Champions League. Do I think we could get it, Barcelona? Of course we can. We need a result in the first leg, but it'd be tough going over at the Nou Camp. But they do have a high line we can exploit. But yeah, this league form's underwhelming. It's so poor. And I've got to come on to it at the end before I wrap up. Jordan Pickford, look, I know he's the pantomime villain. And I've got to praise him, though, because one, he's managed to mature and he revels in getting the stick that he did all game. And I think Gordon could learn from that against his former club. But that save, it's arguably save of the season. We were right behind that, being in the corner. And Tonali, honestly, absolutely phenomenal save, because it was great play, again, by Joe Linton, muscling his way forward. Turned his man rather than playing it down the right. Put a ball in the box, headed clear, and Tonali couldn't have hit it sweeter. But Pickford somehow got a wrist to that to tip it off the bar. And I know he done this. He honestly, he can't be an absolute arsehole with his antics and that, but fair play to him. You can see why he's England's #1. And yeah, honestly, fantastic save. No matter how much you rip him, he always performs against we're here. He did last season, he has again. That save was phenomenal. I don't care if he's a Mackham, I'll still pray. That was a world-class save. It honestly was, and that got Everton all 3 points rather than 1. But yeah, that's it from me for now. It was a disappointing game. Just want to give my thoughts. And yeah, March will either define the season or it'll unravel. As now we've got Man U on Wednesday. Then we've got Man City in the FA Cup. Then it's Barca in the first leg. Chelsea away. Barca at the Nou Camp. And then it's the derby against Sunderland. Hope we can still stay in the FA Cup and we can put on a good performance against Barcelona, because obviously they're the 5-time winners, massive favourites. But yeah, Saturday was so disappointing. So disappointing. Well, I felt we had needed to get 6 points from these last 2 league games. But yeah, a Man U resurgent under a Wall's End lag like myself. It's just frustrating to see. But yeah, we'll have to pick ourselves up and go again on Wednesday. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, please comment, please share. Let me know your thoughts about anything I've discussed. Who was your man of the match? For my opinion, it was Jacob Ramsey before he went off, even though he only played a half. and also please hit the bell to get the latest videos when they are uploaded to the channel. And again, please, when you're not in full screen mode, swipe right in the comments and hit that hype button. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. So for now, take care. Bye-bye.